Now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk Hookup. Get ready for more of the best fishing information and the hottest tips on improving your angling skills. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Yamaha Outboards. Reliability starts here. Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And by Rancho Leonero, where your wildest Baja dreams come true. And now, Southern California's sports fishing voice, the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray and Rock Cod Rick Maxa.
Welcome back, hour number 2. Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Pete Gray here, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, live at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Long Beach, California for the Fred Hall 71st edition of the Fred Hall Long Beach Show. It's been a fantastic show. And what a great panel we have here, and it's been a really lively show. And thank you very much, everybody, for coming down this morning to a great audience, probably one of our largest ever. We have Craig and Chuck from Department of Fish and Wildlife, and we have Seth Bone from Kingfisher Charters, and Sandro from the TV show Wicked Tuna and Tuna.com. And want to thank my staff and the great guys for helping us out here, giving away a ton of prizes. Been a really fun morning. A good buddy of ours, Captain Clowers, who's given a lot of, he's a bay bass fishing guy and has given a lot of reports on Let's Talk Hookup. He's working through cancer right now, and they're putting together a benefit for our buddy Captain Al Clowers. It's going to be on April the 9th. It's going to be a bay bass shootout and a fundraising event to help him pay for his battle with cancer there. So if you want more information about that, it's going to be at Tidelands Park in National City is going to be the base. Give Chris Blackwell a call at 619-302-3379. But mark your calendar for April 9th, and we'll certainly talk more about that benefit for Captain Clowers for the future. But in the meantime, time for the catch report today.
You got it, bro. Let's find out what's biting out there. And today, our FishDope.com report is sponsored by the Sato Crimp and Winder Company, where they only make products that work. If you want to end your connection failures, you need to try the Sato Crimp Kit. It's a must-have piece of gear for your next trip to help you catch everything from school-sized tuna to record-sized tuna. And with all brass crimps and other features, it's better than ever. It's the favorite connection method to connect your Spectra to your fluorocarbon or your Spectra to your mono. They use it on the Royal Star, the Royal Polaris, the American Angler, and most of the other top boats. And if you haven't already, you should make it your preferred connection system. You can get it at selected tackle stores like Fisherman's Landing Tackle or at SatoCrimpandWinder.com. And I know at least for us in the tackle store, there's not a better time to buy that Sato Crimp Kit or to refill your Sato Crimps in at the Fred Hall Show. It's the cheapest price that we have on them all year long.
Those are on sale?
Yeah, everything.
Come on.
It's definitely
the Fisherman's Landing Tackle booth.
Whether you're a guy that uses the Sato Crimp and you want to reload up on crimps that you're going to be using throughout the year, or if you want to get started buying the starter kit or the pro kit,
they just don't go on sale.
Yeah, we don't ever. It's the only time of the year that we do Sato Crimps on sale is at the Fred Hall Show. So
okay,
time to get
Fisherman's
it.
Landing Tackle booth.
You got it.
All right, get them. All right, Captain Mark Wish from Pacific Edge. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Good morning, Pete. Ricky, staff.
Thanks for coming down here.
Oh, well, thanks for putting all this together. I mean, what a fantastic venue again. I also want to say thanks to Bart and his staff for another fantastic show. I cannot believe the amount of people that we've seen the last few days. Oh, my goodness. But traditionally, we did this live report, and the topic was always white sea bass. Something's changed with them things, man. The pattern's different. The water setup's a little different. We do have little squid showing up at Catalina. Thank God we haven't had much of that at all recently. But some bait has shown up on the front side of the island. Guys I'm talking to that have been over on that bait say the seals own that spot. And no marks of fish, no caught fish yet that we know of. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. But the nice weather we had during the week was perfect for the rockfish opener. The guys got a chance to get out and look around and hit some of those outside banks and islands. Good cod fishing, good ling cod fishing, all that stuff's free for the taking now, so that's been fun. Local bass fishing, it's okay. I talked to one of my friends who was enjoying the afternoon on the water yesterday afternoon, catching bass and sheephead out here on Iser Reef. So, that's all good. But what looks like happening, we had a couple really nice days of weather. It looks like it's changing a little bit, which is perfect for you guys that want to come into the show here. They're even talking a little bit of rain for tomorrow, so it's going to be really crowded here. And we'll just have to keep an eye on that sea bass situation. What's funny, though, is that I'm getting more questions about bluefin. And, bluefin been kind of hanging around. They've been splashing around a little bit. Really got everybody all fired up. I think there's more interest in when the bluefin are starting to bite as opposed to when the sea bass are going to bite. So we'll see. It's going to be another fantastic year. It looks like conditions are good. Red crabs are everywhere. Red crabs are washing up on the beach in Oregon. Saw pictures yesterday of that. I mean, that's like unheard of.
Yeah.
So.
And we saw them down in Puerto Vallarta. So from Oregon to
everywhere.
Puerto Vallarta,
coming up,
they're everywhere.
they're swimming in the harbors here, all up and down the coast again, and it just bodes well. It's just part of the food chain, and to get all the good gamesters in here, we need that squid, anchovies, red crabs, all that bait's around. So the stage is set, and we'll just have to see what happens.
You bet. And I know I saw Danny at fishdope.com, reporter here at the show. I know you report to Danny at fishdope.com. Danny's been hanging around the show and does such a great job. Always find out what's going on from fishdope.com right there. He's got all the information. And, of course, you can sign up for fishdope.com at the BD Outdoors booth and the fishdope.com booth right here at the Fred Hall Show special offers. Or use that Let's Talk Hookup code. Hookup now, lowercase, no space, $20 off a new membership to fishdope.com. And thank you, Mark.
They do a great job. I mean, he just puts so much effort into that. And then, their booth is right in front of our booth, so you can't see all the people lining up there buying their memberships.
So if you go to the fishdope.com booth, the BD Outdoors booth, you look right behind you, you'll see Mark and the bait tanks. And you've got those incredible pliers and your books and everything.
Books, yep.
Yeah. All right.
We got some outstanding seminars for you this afternoon at 12:30 and tomorrow at 12:30. I've got a really nice PowerPoint presentation that's got a lot of local stuff in there, focusing on how to catch white sea bass, and a large section that I added in just for this show about the bluefin fishing from last year, because how could we not?
Wow.
So,
no kidding.
Including pictures of the famous rockcod Rick and his back-breaking 205 on the long rod.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Fantastic,
Thanks,
Mark. Thanks a lot. We'll see you at the show.
We'll see you at the show. Thanks
All right,
again, guys.
Thanks Mark. Hey, let's continue with our catch report. Head on down to Seaforth Sport Fishing in San Diego and talk to Marcos. Marcos, what's going on at Seaforth?
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
We're doing great. I know a little change in the weather. I'm sure some good fishing at Seaforth.
We actually have had some good fishing this week. The half day with the Rockfish opener on Wednesday. It took a day or two to get going, but they're having some good bottom fishing on there. And actually yesterday afternoon they had 5 yellowtail, and those fish were all in the 20, 25-pound range, so that's definitely a nice sign there. As long as we keep this good weather, great fishing on the half day. The San Diego, they got out yesterday. Only saw a handful of yellowtail, good bottom fishing. They are back out there today, and he's online. He's going to be running as often as possible, so definitely a good chance to get in on some early 3/4 day fishing there, get your gear out of storage, and come fishing. Check the website, seaforthlanding.com, to make your reservations online. You can give us a call at the office, 619-224-3383. You can visit us at person in the tackle shop here, or you can stop by the booth at the show there and say hi to everyone and get some information there also.
Fantastic.
I know one of the beauties, we said it all the time, but one of the great things about Seaforth Sport Fishing, guys always do such a good job of lots of captains, John Yamati, a lot of the guys. Seaforth's always very well represented by all the boys that work on the boats up here at the Fred Hall Show. You get to meet and greet your favorite guy you like to go fishing with throughout the year.
Absolutely. Stop by, say hi to those guys, and give us a call, and we'll get you set up for fishing.
Right on, Marcos. Great report as always. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to talking to you next Saturday.
We'll talk to you then, guys.
Thanks, Marcos.
All right, Rick Jensen, Sport Fishing Financial. Good morning, Rick.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And
been a great show here for you at the Sport Fishing Financial booth there, right down from the Let's Talk Hookup booth. And what's going on in northern Baja?
Well, I wanted to, first of all, say a special thanks to the Department of Fish and Wildlife for being there and interacting with the public, and especially Officer Carrie Wilson yesterday at the Sport Fishing Financial booth. I was celebrating my birthday, and she personally delivered a cake and sang a song to me and further reached out and spread the goodwill of the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Wow, happy birthday, Rick. That's fantastic. And, yeah, Carrie, that was nice. Nice thing. Sorry we missed the cake.
Yeah, well, I'll have another one there today. Come by and we'll share it. Anyways, out in the Baja, the overall fishing's a bit slow. There's been a few snapper down in Mulegé, a couple cabrilla. They're having a local yellowtail fishing tournament there today. Bigger fish have been around the bottom and the smaller fish on the surface, so we'll see how that goes throughout the weekend. Really no reports at all from the central Baja Pacific. The whales are still there in full swing. Jeff at Cedros Island Tackle says the wind blew there and pretty much blew everything out all week, so nothing there. Same in Bay of LA, wind. San Quintin, off and on wind, but it looks like things are going to improve there, but not a whole lot of reports there either. So good day for everybody who's not going to Baja to come to the show. Thanks, Bart, for putting on another great show. I'm there in booth number 212, and we'll be there shortly to show everybody how they can put their money to work, grow it, create income, do something to reach your fishing goals, and let's go fishing together.
Fantastic. Sportfishingfinancial.com, or see Rick at the show today and go by and get a piece of birthday cake.
All right, guys. We'll see you there.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick. Happy birthday to you for sure.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up our catch report today. Again, the Dana Landing booth at the show is the biggest ever. They actually have 5 factory booths all in one, including Maui Jim. They have Olokai, a great display of Fishworks clothing, Grundens, and the Killer Salty crew. That means 5 times the selection and 5 times the savings for you. The Dana Landing booth will have it all for the saltwater guy. You don't want to miss it. It's a great display here inside the Fred Hall show.
Absolutely, no question. I might add, too, if you do buy a pair of Maui Jim sunglasses and then buy a Let's Talk Hookup hat or T-shirt, you get that Angle Coolers 22-ounce tumbler, which is just a phenomenal spill-proof tumbler. We're giving away custom with the Maui Jim and Let's Talk Hookup logo at our booth. So if you do manage to buy a pair of Maui Jim sunglasses and come by and buy a Let's Talk Hookup hat or T-shirt, come on by and grab one of those tumblers. There's still a few available. It's very limited supply on those, but those tumblers, it's a $40 value for those tumblers, and well worth every penny of that $40 that Angle builds there for sure. Hey, Maria is here from Laverne. Thanks for joining us here at our live broadcast at the Hyatt Regency.
Maria?
Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here. This is like Disneyland for my husband.
Fantastic.
And I look forward to coming every year, too. My question is, our family has a trip planned in June to Mammoth, and with all of this rain that we have, how do you predict the fishing will be in Mammoth this year?
Well, I know Director Bonham is a big trout guy. What do you think, Chuck?
I think the water will be higher than it has been for the last 5 years. We're not quite yet out of drought. For those paying attention, we've had an incredible wet season, rainy season in California. The snowpack is very large. But because of 4 or 5 years of drought, we still have very depleted groundwater basins all through the Central Valley. And it will take more than one wet year to fully pull out of our drought. That said, there's something pretty basic for fish. Good habitat, just add water, and you'll get a return in your population. So, the conditions are going to be different than people have experienced the last couple of years. The waters are going to be higher, but I think it'll turn out to be a longer season, more enjoyable one, and very rewarding, particularly the east side. Our trout hatcheries, which is perhaps different than some of the folks who are going to scramble for, backcountry or wild fish experience, are going to be producing more fish this year than we did even last year. So for the drought, we've really redirected a lot of our capital investment. We've gone into our hatchery system. We've upgraded them. We've dealt with long overdue maintenance. We've kind of prepared them better for managing low water years, and as a result, we're going to have a touch more production this year than we did even last year for our hatcheries.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah.
And the Eastern Sierra, the partnerships they have between the Department of Fish and Wildlife and private sources, they put in about 650,000 pounds of fish last year in the Eastern Sierra lakes. And the one thing I'm going to say, if you're going up in June, you'll probably, since the traditional opener is April, the last Saturday in April, I'm sure that by June we'll probably actually have an opener. As far as I know, Crowley is still completely frozen.
It is.
Convict is frozen, and all the Mammoth lakes are frozen. So we'll see if we actually are able to get out on opening day.
Ice fishing at Crowley, maybe?
Yeah, ice fishing. I think that's it. Bring your auger.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I had lunch with Josh from Mammoth Lakes, who's here at the show. Mammoth Lakes has a great booth, and, of course, the Mammoth Lake Seminar here at the show. And I was in Mammoth last week, and everybody up there, my buddy Jimmy, who's a hardcore fisherman at Crowley there, said it's going to be a phenomenal year. And I know Mammoth Lakes and Josh and Whitney and John are all planning bigger plants this year because a fee that they charge for everything that's sold in Mammoth Lakes. They're going to have gobs of money this year to spend, and he told me they're going to spend a lot of it on trout.
Well, they planted 10 tons of trout last year themselves, and they're going to do more this year. And the director is right. With the more water, they're going to be skiing until the
July 4th.
4th of July. And I anticipate that the spring fishing, the fall fishing up there is going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. All right, thanks, Maria. Appreciate that very much. Joe Green is here from San Pedro, local man here, a.k.a. Jose Verde. Good morning, Jose.
What's up, Joe?
Good morning, everybody. Got a question for Seth. I think I asked you a question a couple of years ago about the number of salmon that are caught there in the area. When is the best time to come there to get to complete a Grand Slam, a salmon Grand Slam?
Yeah, I'd say probably any time from mid-June till probably right up till the end. We get kings really good. The peak months for kings are, of course, May and June, but we get them, pretty decent into July and a lot of years even into August. By mid-June, you're starting to see the silvers, and the pinks and the chums starting to show up, probably even more prevalent on those other species in July. So I'd say, kind of shoot for the mid-season. And it's certainly doable. We don't catch a lot of sockeye because they're plankton feeders and they don't bite a lot, but we do catch some. And so, yeah, Grand Slams are out there for sure.
Possible to do it in one day, though.
Yeah, possible.
August, right?
Yeah, I'd say July or probably first half of August.
So we did one in the years of fishing up there in Kingfisher. We had one day where we caught it's 5, right? 5 species of Pacific salmon that you can catch up there. We had one day where we happened to get all, not one person, but between the boat we had
all 5 species.
Right,
and that was in June.
Yeah, in June.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's almost, a gimme that you're going to get 4 out of the 5 if you come mid-season because, the silvers are around, the kings, and then the pinks and chums, are there too, and they bite. And so the sockeye is kind of the key, and the more difficult one to get, but it does happen. And like Rick said, you see it, more often on a boat level, the boat Grand Slammed, more likely than an individual, but it sure could happen.
Okay, terrific. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you coming down. Brian from Hemet, you're next up. Come on, step up to the mic. Thanks for joining us here at our live broadcast. Nice shirt. Let's talk Hookup shirt. Look at that.
Looking good.
Good morning, Pete and Rick.
Good morning.
All right, I have a question for Chuck from DFW. I just purchased a fishing license here yesterday, in fact. Thank you for allowing us to purchase the licenses here at the show. But my question is, how come the fishing license doesn't go from the day you purchase it for a full 12 months? And that, it's an annual fishing license, but it expires, at end of December.
It does.
So
how come that is? It seems like it's kind of a rip-off, I guess.
Well, hey, first and most importantly, thank you for buying the license. I'd also say it pays to buy sooner rather than later. Yeah. And look, I'm one who leaves things to the last minute, like cleaning out my gutters before a torrential downpour in the Bay Area. But if you can get around to buying sooner, it's smarter. And this is an annual debate we've been having for about 3 years, Wayne at CCA and others suggesting we ought to go to 12 calendar months from date of purchase rather than yearly. We've dug into it. We've tried to survey all the other states that have made that transition. South Carolina comes to mind. Virginia comes to mind. And for the most part, what we're finding when we look at their data and ask our counterparts, they don't make money. They lose money overall. And we still have an open door to the question. I suspect I'll get a bill proposed this year for the same transition to occur. And we'll be debating it.
But in reality, if you're going to go fishing early, you're going to get it early. So typically we buy that license when we're going to make our first trips of the year. And so I think it kind of works out. Truthfully, the first part of the year, I am not able to go fishing because I'm preparing for these shows. So I usually buy my licenses here for my whole family. We do it right here. So
we've been able to do some other things which aren't directly related to the question. We're changing the age where you define youth. So we're swooping in more people by raising the age, allowing them to purchase a cheaper license. That's designed in part to bring more youth into the activities, both on the hunting and fishing front. Simultaneously, in the last couple of years, we've changed the cost for military veterans and other folks. So opportunity really matters. We realize that, generally speaking, a fishing license in California is more expensive than most other states. So part of this bargain between y'all and us, or where I grew up in the South, the plural of y'all is all y'all. So all y'all and us is we've got to work hard to give you value on your investment, and we're thinking about solving the problem you raised, but it's not as simple as the bumper sticker may suggest, that if you just make this pitch, the department will make more money and more people will buy licenses. The data doesn't seem to prove that up, but we're looking at it.
So it's really a revenue issue?
Could be, but revenue is not our only driver. We also have to make it convenient, accessible, and worth your investment as well, which is why we still have the idea on the table.
Very good. Thanks. Good question. Thanks a lot for the call this morning.
Hey, when we come back, we got more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More of your phone calls, more great stand-up microphone questions. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
This is Rick Jensen with Sport Fishing Financial. I think most of you get that I'm a fisherman and work with the fishing community, but to understand exactly what Sport Fishing Financial does, ask yourself these 4 questions. First, do you really know how much money you'll need in order to retire comfortably? Next, do you know how much you'll have to save on a regular basis to reach that number? Do you have a process that includes a proven investment strategy and confidence that the money you save will grow? Last, do you have a plan for how to turn your savings into retirement income? If you don't have good answers to these questions, you're not alone. But you should, and I can make sure you do. In addition, if you own a business and currently provide or are planning on providing a retirement savings plan for yourself or your employees, we should really talk. We offer an outstanding variety of creative solutions that are sure to meet your needs.
Some of our listeners may feel overwhelmed. Others may believe they are already doing the best they can. In either case, I bet Rick can help. Set a time to meet with him and start planning for your personal or business investment success. Find Rick on the web at sportfishingfinancial.com or give him a call at 949-481-1807. Showtime is the best time to buy your next boat, and Inland Boat Center is ready to put you into the right boat today. They've been around 36 years and have something for everyone. Inland Boat Center has the perfect saltwater fishing boats made by Arima and Defiance. If you purchase a boat during Showtime, there will be factory incentives. In fact, all new Defiance and Arima boats are eligible for a free electronics package, as well as special financing towards the purchase of any new Defiance or Arima, making those payments very affordable. Please see sales personnel for details. In addition, get 2 years added to your factory warranty on Yamaha and Mercury outboards, plus Honda outboard incentives. So time to trade in that old boat at Inland Boat Center and get the Defiance or Arima boat you really want at a super show deal from Inland Boat Center, 681 East San Jacinto in Paris. Check inlandboatcenter.com and come see them at the Fred Hall shows.
It's Fred Hall showtime, and Fisherman's Landing Tackle has the best selection and the hottest deals in the show. Hi, this is Doug Kern. The huge Fisherman's Landing Tackle booth is a must-see this year, and the deals will be unmatched. Fisherman's Landing Tackle will have tons of new items, closeout deals, and all the great tried-and-true items you have come to expect, all with aggressive discounts or valuable free goods. If you are looking for great deals on rods, reels, blanks, line, jigs, clothing, rod belts, tackle boxes, hooks, rod parts, and more, you need to visit our greatest booth ever. Fisherman's Landing Tackle, a must-see at this year's Fred Hall show.
Have you been looking for a live bait hook that keeps live bait alive? Look no further than Japan's leading fish hook, Gamakatsu. It's the little things that make the difference, and Gamakatsu hooks drive the point home. With an absolute perfect bend and ideal barbs, your bait swims harder and longer. And when you get bit, Gamakatsu hooks bite back with a vengeance. All hooks are not the same. Go with Gamakatsu for infinite success. Gamakatsu, simply the best. Check Gamakatsu.com.
When you put on a pair of Maui Jim sunglasses, the world begins to look different. Colors are more vivid. Contrast is clearer. Details are crisper. Wherever your vision leads you, beauty follows. With polarized lenses that eliminate glare and enhance color, Maui Jim sunglasses won't change the world. They'll change the way you see it. Color, clarity, detail. Maui Jim.
XSRS 1090 AM, Rosarito, Baja California.
You're listening to the home of the Aztecs.
What's that slam dunk? That's what I'm talking about.
San Diego sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
Live at the Hyatt Regency, the Fred Hall Show, 71st edition. And somebody we've watched grow up before our eyes is at the mic here. Hannah. Good morning, Hannah.
Good morning. So, with all the bluefin tuna that showed up in our waters last year, how come organizations like Greenpeace are trying to mark them as an endangered species?
Oh, I'd be saying that's a Craig question. What do you think, Craig?
Thank you. Great question. So, bluefin are an interesting species. We were just talking about it earlier, the difference between the Pacific and the Atlantic. And so the bluefin population ranges across the entire Pacific Ocean. We've been seeing a lot of bluefin lately off of our shores. The last couple of years have been amazing. I personally haven't been able to take part in it, and I'm depressed about that. Hopefully this year. But the population in the Pacific, the studies are showing us that those numbers are down in below 5% of what historic population should be. We know that the impact of California recreational anglers on that total population is very low. But we are very, very concerned about that overall population in the Pacific. So it's difficult to reconcile why we're seeing so many off our coast. At the same time, the science is telling us we're at these very, very low abundances compared to historical populations.
And we could use recreational anglers' help. So, as Craig mentioned, we're seeing larger fish recently, more frequently in California. And it's raising scientific questions for us about whether those fish are old enough to reproduce, what their maturity level is. So the NOAA Fisheries Southwest Science Center in our department will be asking folks to consider collecting the reproductive parts, the stomachs, the otoliths, the gonads, and then getting that information to us so that we can do a little better analysis of the maturity of those fish and determine if they're actually spawning offshore of California, which is another example of the relationship between what y'all are doing in the waters, what we're doing at the science level, and how it can equate to our future management strategies.
Very good. Hey, Joe, who just was up there, just put up a point here, said that one thing you don't need to worry about if you buy a license, if you buy a lifetime license, you don't need to worry about an expiration date, right, Director?
That's true, and the sooner you buy it in your life, the more return on investment you'll get.
There you go. Very good. Good idea, Joe. Thanks a lot for that. And thanks, Hannah. That was a very good question. And, on the bluefin side, there's a lot of discussion, and the extreme environmental groups are
crazy?
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but they're pointing their direction at the wrong place. The people they should be talking to are the people in Japan that are killing all the juveniles and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. That's the science that I've seen, and it's not, of course, like a department issue, but certainly something that you guys are looking at, right, Chuck?
Yeah, we participate in, at this kind of state level in national and international discussions around highly migratory species. I do think, though, that to a person in California, our hunters and anglers, even if there's an element of sacrifice of opportunity, they are historically and current day willing to restrict their opportunity for the greater good of helping recover a population.
No question. Like the 2-fish limit this past year that went into effect. I think everybody's adapted to that, and it's gone over quite well.
So one of the cool things I get to do is if you catch the state record of any size of fish, I get to sign a certificate and send you a little personal letter saying congratulations. So I just did that for bluefin tuna. We have a new bluefin record in the state. John Correa caught a 245-pound bluefin, 0 ounces, at 43 Fathom Bank last August. Wow. And that breaks the prior record, which was set back in 1990, of a 243-pound fish.
Wow.
So,
congratulations.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool.
Now, one thing that is on the department's radar is lobster, and your enforcement division does a fantastic job enforcing lobster, and it's a very, very valuable resource. And one of the things that really helps you guys is that Lobster Report card, right?
That's right. And I think Craig's got a lot more detail on this, as also in his personal life, a lobster diver himself.
Yeah, well, thanks, Pete, for the question. So, some good news. As we know, last year the Lobster FMP was adopted by the Fish and Game Commission. We just heard last week from the Office of Administrative Law that the implementing regulations for that FMP were adopted and will be in place for the 2017 season. So what does that mean for the recreational angler? We've got new marking requirements for hoop nets that we talked about. That's something that was strongly supported by the recreational angling community. We're also changing the start time. So we're moving that from the midnight start time to 6 a.m. That was somewhat controversial, but there was generally a lot of support for that. And unfortunately, people were dying. We were losing a lot of divers every year, going out in the middle of the night, midnight out of Catalina, maybe doing some drinking ahead of time. Not a safe situation, so we've moved that start time to 6 a.m. It's not changing the limit you can get prior to the commercial opener, so it's still that same number of days you get. Also clarifying measuring requirements, so you can now bring those lobsters onto the boat from your hoop net, measure them before you put them back in. Bit of a loophole in the previous language where technically you were required to bend over the side of the boat, measure the lobster in the hoop net before you put them back in. Again, not creating a safe situation. A couple years ago, we implemented the non-return fee for lobster report cards. That has increased our return rate from the low 20s to around 50%. We want to get that up to 80, 90%. The better data we have, the better job we can do managing the fishery. Reminder, lobster season ends. It's still open right now. I know as we get into this time of year, we forget about lobster. We still got another couple of weeks to fish lobster. Those report cards are due April 30th. So we moved from the annual card for lobster to the seasonal card, so it now lasts the entire season. Let's make sure we get our report cards in. I'm reminding myself as well. April 30th to get it in. I strongly encourage us all to use the online system. When you enter it online, record your confirmation number. If anything comes up next year and you get hit with that non-return fee, which is now $21.60, if you've got that confirmation number, we can do that. But if you don't have that confirmation number, if you didn't hit send, if it didn't process, you didn't get that number, then it didn't go through.
Yeah, and the implementation of those regulations you talked is going into the 17-18 season. It's not in effect right now.
Correct.
Okay, very good. Thanks. Good information. Brian from Hookup Valley. Brian, you still around here? There he is. All right, behind the wall.
What's up, Brian?
Morning, Brian.
Hey, Sandro, I just wanted to know, what do you guys do with those big-ass heads of tuna?
Typically, it's just discarded, thrown in the water. However, if we're asked by Molly, which is one of the main scientists out there, sometimes it will take the heads and they'll actually study them. And they'll will take the inside parts like these guys do, the gonads and whatnot, and she likes to study those. But for the most part, you get a couple steaks out of it, and it's just discarded.
Do the collars have any meat on them?
You get some meat out of the cheeks, and you get meat like head steaks. Typically, the head steaks are very greasy. Not the best meat, but typically when you're selling those bluefin, you're not getting much meat off them except for the core that you're selling.
Thank you.
Very good. Brian, Westminster. You're up, Brian. Thanks for coming down.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, good morning. Got a question for the director. How many fishing-related citations are issued annually, typically, and what's the number one violation?
Let me ask Chief Best to think on his feet and come up with. Hey, Brian,
Hi, Chief Best.
For what it's worth for you or anybody else, you don't need to call me director. That kind of freaks me out. Chuck is just fine. So,
could you repeat the question for me? I didn't hear it all.
Yeah, how many fishing-related citations are typically issued annually, and what's the number one violation?
Relative to fishing, about 10,000 annually. We issue, probably the most common one's going to be fishing without a license is the most common thing that we find.
Interesting. Oh. And what would be some of the other things that you cite a lot?
In the fishing world, probably second to that would be method of take, right? People not using the right equipment in the right area of water would be one. Additionally, then we'll have what we call meat tickets where people have, over limits, undersized, that type of stuff relative to whatever species they're fishing for.
Gotcha. Must be very, very complicated when you get into fillet size, especially the new regulations with fillet size on bluefin tuna and such like that, rockfish and such like that. That must make things, your job and your guys' job, very, very difficult.
It's challenging, but we've got a great staff of wardens out there, and that kind of backs up what Chuck was talking about earlier with the creation of the Marine Enforcement District, is taking wardens who that's their specialty. Yeah. That's what they do all day, every day out there protecting the resource.
Yeah. There's also a technology aspect to this. I don't know any of you who have always gotten your paper annual book of regulations. We've tried to streamline that. If you're from Northern California, you might know of something called the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose. It's a house where there was a very wealthy heiress who kept tacking on rooms after rooms after room after room after room. And now when you visit this house, you get lost because so many rooms have been added on. I think a lot of our anglers have a similar experience with our reg book. They crack it and they follow through, 5 pages of run-on sentence, and then they're lost. So we've been trying to streamline that and condense that. We've also been trying to automate it all and get it available for folks. So we now have pretty recent mobile applications. You're out in the ocean, you can pull it up on your phone assuming you got service. And we're doing the back of the house technology for our enforcement folks too, so they can get that stuff digitized and more readily accessible. I'd say the vast majority of contacts, though, could perhaps be educational. You run across folks who maybe perhaps should know something. There's not malintent there, and our interaction with them in the public is education first, I think.
I had a kind of along those lines, a friend yesterday asked to ask you the question that they were concerned that regulation books don't tend to come out until April, but the enforcement starts obviously January 1st. Do you think that there's any opportunity that those laws that we're going to be faced at the beginning of the year will get an opportunity to get to look at what the regulations books, before the 4 months that we've had to follow the regulations?
Probably not the books themselves, but all year round we're running a public process in front of our Fish and Game Commission where it's got publicly noticed meetings about the upcoming proposed next regulations. I know it's way less fun to come to a dark conference room somewhere and debate the regulation compared to being outside, but that's where the sausage making occurs in the annual rulemaking, if you will.
Gotcha. Seth, in Alaska, I know when we fish with your guys at Kingfisher Charters, there are a lot of different regulations that you guys have to abide by up there. Do you interact with Department of Fish and Game in Alaska a lot, or is that just kind of something you just get the regulations and it's done?
No, there's actually a lot of interaction between the Fish and Game and also the federal management of the halibut and industry, the guided sport industry, and we get input. We don't get to say we want more fish, really. We can say that, but
yeah.
But what we can say, okay, well, we get to take 50,000 of whatever species, and this is how within that, this is what we'd like the regs to look like. That would be the best case to give us a full season, to avoid closures, and still stay within that limit, so it's not being over-harvested. So it's, from when I started back in the early 90s, it's gotten a lot better, a lot more interactive, and they've been a lot more receptive to letting us have input into what the regs would be. And of course they're not perfect, but at least we're able to try to pick the ones that are most palatable and still stay within the allocation.
Sure. Because they're hard on you. They're hard on you, charter captains up there. I mean, they give a lot more leeway to the general recreational angler, and a lot of times the commercial guys, than they do the charter captains.
Yeah, I guess so. The halibut is federally managed, and so they can't really they can't regulate non-residents versus residents legally because it's federal, and so the way they try to get at that is by saying if you're on a guided sport fishing vessel, then you're probably a non-resident, and so you're going to have not as good a limits. Basically, they're looking out for the resident Alaskan fishermen, and they'll get better limits on kings, better limits on lings, and everything.
So that's more from the federal side.
On the halibut, yeah. But in general, kind of Alaska's a big state, rich in resources, but fairly sparsely populated. Right. And we have to put up with some weather up there, so I think the intent is
short
to try
seasons.
He's right, is to try to really look out for the resident fishermen as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. All right, good question. Thanks.
Hey, when we come back, we're going to find out all kinds of lucky winners, find out who's going to the Del Mar show, who's got a brand new pair of Maui Gyms coming their way. There's more Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
For East Cape fishing, Jen Wren is known as the best. This is Mark Rayer. Great service, top quality equipment, including all accurate reels, CalStar rods, and Cimarron electronics, has put my immaculately maintained twin-engine cruisers in a class of their own. For memories of a lifetime, just bring your hat and sunglasses, and we'll provide a fishing experience that will exceed your expectations. Our calendar's filling fast, so don't miss out. For packages, 2 live webcams, a weekly fishery report, and more, check out TeamJenWren.com. We pick up at all East Cape resorts, so let's go fishing.
This is Greg Stotesbury from AFCO. For more than 58 years, the American Fishing Tackle Company has been recognized as the premier manufacturer of precision-built offshore fishing tackle. AFCO continues this tradition today with an innovative technical fishing clothing line designed and built by fishermen for fishermen. From our next-generation waterproof shorts like Tactical or Stealth to our new anhydrous waterproof jacket and bibs, the entire AFCO clothing line is purpose-built with the latest AFTEC fabrics and features designed to deliver for the demanding angler. To find AFCO products, go to AFCO.com and find a dealer near you.
This is Pete Gray to tell you about one of my favorite places to fish in the world. It's Whalers Cove Lodge in Angoon, Alaska. For several years now, we've been hosting groups at Whalers Cove, and this is certainly one trip I do not miss. Each year, the Powers family makes great improvements to the lodge that make this great lodge even better. New rooms, new boats, new fish processing facilities, new outdoor kitchen. The list goes on and on. As for fishing, the calm waters around Whalers Cove are 100 miles from any large town, so you will enjoy wilderness adventure without the crowds. Whalers Cove Lodge has some of the best salt and freshwater fishing in Alaska, and there's no need for a bumpy boat ride for hours. You can find productive fishing for salmon, halibut, and rockfish just 10 minutes from the lodge. Here's the deal. The word is out on Whalers Cove, so you want to go? Book soon. WhalersCoveLodge.com or call 800-423-3123. WhalersCoveLodge.com for the Alaska fishing experience of a lifetime.
It's Fred Hall showtime, and Fisherman's Landing Tackle has the best selection and the hottest deals in the show. If it's accurate reels you're after, look no further. Fisherman's Landing Tackle has the largest selection in the show. And have your accurate reel filled with free Spectra when you buy one in our booth. That's accurate and Fisherman's Landing Tackle.
No matter the fishing conditions, count on the Seagar family of fluorocarbon leader material to help you catch more fish. Fluoro Premier has a smaller diameter with the highest break strength. Plus, it is super soft. When bites are tough, tie on Fluoro Premier. Blue Label is tough as nails with incredible abrasion resistance and impact strength. And new Pink Label is the choice for tough light conditions, giving you a little more visibility for better line control. Pick up a spool of Seagar at your favorite tackle dealer or visit Seagar.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Right, the big winner of the 2 tickets to go to the Fred Hall show in Del Mar is going to Tim in San Diego. Tim, congratulations. Stoked to get to see you at the Fred Hall show in Del Mar. But better yet, come on up today, man.
Yeah,
come check out
on
the
up.
big show.
You betcha. And thanks to our buddy Adam in the Mighty 1090 studios for taking care of everything on that. And Steve Bermudez won the Maui Jim sunglasses. He gets to go to the show and pick out any pair he wants at the Maui Jim booth, at the Dana Landing booth here at the Fred Hall Long Beach show. And I want to thank Seth, Kingfisher Charters. Appreciate your time this morning and run a fantastic operation. You're going to Sitka. You want to go to Alaska. Nobody does it better than Kingfisher Charters.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, and if somebody wants to get in this year or even next year, how do we do that?
Well, come see us at the booth here, right across from the Let's Talk Hookup booth and the show, or check out our website, kingfishercharters.com. Also a link on the Let's Talk Hookup homepage. And we'd love to have you. We still do have a few spots for this season, so it's not too late for this season. And we are taking bookings for the next season, 2018, as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's still some spots open for the Let's Talk Hookup trip in 2018.
We have our dates already set for 2018. So, yeah, that's the way you have to work at Kingfisher because it's a very popular place for sure. Thanks, Seth. And we'll see you at the show today and tomorrow. Sandro, you're going to be at the show today but not tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'll be there all day today. And tomorrow, unfortunately, I go back to the frozen tundra.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today. Of course, new season. Wicked Tuna, and we'll see you on the deck at tuna.com. When's it start?
Next Sunday, 9 o'clock, and Make sure you watch episode 4.
Episode 4. Okay,
Right.
that's a good one. Huh?
Promises to be a good one.
Okay, all right, cool. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Very
being in
cool.
the Maui Gym Dana Landing booth, too. We'll see you there today. And Chuck Bonham, Craig Schumann, thank you guys and all your work with DFW. Once again, 1 o'clock today, right, guys?
That's right, 1 o'clock for 5 or 6 people in our senior leadership, including me, to take all comers and any questions. We'll also have, I don't know what the exact number is, 30, 40 other staff around the event today and tomorrow. We'll have our main booth. You can buy all your relevant licenses, ask any questions there. We'll have our enforcement folks out. I think we'll probably have one of our old hatchery trucks out and some discussion about that. And then we'll be in Bakersfield as well for Bart's incredible kickoff of a new commitment there for Inland California.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck. Yeah, thanks, guys, for being here. We do have the original truck out there built by the Dodge brothers. Go take a look at that.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. The hatchery program is out there. The hatchery program is so important to anglers in California. The industry would collapse without it. It's just amazing, and you get to see it all happening out there. So today we open at 10. We close at 8:30. This is the best day to come see the show. It's too big to see in one day, but you get to see most of it if you come today. Tomorrow we're open again from 10 to 7. It's a wonderful event. I mean, it is year after year, but this one is particularly great. Everybody stepped up. All the manufacturers have bigger, better booths. They're introducing new products. Accurate's introducing the new Valiant 500. We want to thank Daiwa for stepping up to be a sponsor of the Bass Bin, Mammoth Lakes for sponsoring the Trout Pond, Dodge for sponsoring the Dock Dogs. Go down on the lagoon and test drive the new Hobie kayaks with reverse now. You can go into a kelp bed and pull that big
Mirage
calico
Drive
out.
360.
Going back. And the Eclipse pedal board out there. So there's a lot to see and do.
And you mentioned cars. The Ford has a great display of Ford trucks here, too.
They do. Right next to the Mammoth Lake seminar room. Ford is in all of our shows, and we want to thank them. They've been with us for 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thanks, Bart. Thanks for a great show. We'll see you at the show. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning, 7 and 9 a.m. We'll be live at the Hyatt Regency. Please join us again. We'll have another great round of prizes, and all our guys, thanks to all my guys for helping out today. And thank you all for joining us today. Great crowd this morning. And again, thanks to James from RC Productions for the great job of the broadcast. And tomorrow, great show. Josh from Mammoth Lakes, Jeff from Katmai Lodge, and a lot more. Chris Bart will be back. Thanks for listening today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on the Mighty 1090.